Let's go back to the year 2000. The WWF was experiencing one of its most successful years as the company was fully immersed in the Attitude Era, marked by the rise of new stars and the departure of one of his biggest icons, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who had been sidelined for much of the year after neck surgery. With Austin temporarily out of the picture, the WWF saw the emergence of fresh talents, intense rivalries, and high drama, taking the product to an entirely new level. This was a year in which new stars rose, old rivalries deepened, and unforgettable moments were created. The WWF's programming in 2000 will be packed with controversial angles, shocking twists, and legendary matches that will leave a lasting legacy. From the dramatic shifts in power to the emergence of new talent, 2000 was the year that solidified the WWF's place at the top of the wrestling world. Let's take a deep dive into the highs and lows of WWF's unforgettable year of 2000, starting with the early months and working our way through the dramatic conclusion and Armageddon in December. When the year began, the WWF was firmly under the control of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, a power duo at the forefront of what was known as the McMahon-Helmsley regime. This faction dominated the WWF's on-screen storyline, with Triple H as the top heel of the company and Stephanie McMahon by his side as his enforcer. The regime's stranglehold on the WWF came at the expense of fan favorites and faced incredible opposition from wrestlers like Mick Foley, The Rock, and even The Big Show, who had briefly claimed the WWF Championship at the end of 1999. On the January 3rd edition of Raw, a pivotal moment occurred when Triple H, alongside his reformed D-Generation X faction, which included Billy Gunn, X-Pac, and Road Dogg, helped himself capture the WWF Championship, taking it from The Big Show. This was more than just a title win. It marked a crucial moment in Triple H's career, solidifying him as the top main event player in the company. Meanwhile, in a separate storyline, Test would claim the Hardcore Championship, signaling the start of his push as a mid-card competitor. However, the most immediate and impactful storyline was the brewing tension between Triple H and Mick Foley, which set the stage for a dramatic confrontation at the Royal Rumble later that month. Initially, a standard Mankind vs. Triple H match was planned for the Royal Rumble. However, in a brilliant twist, Mick Foley would evolve into a much more violent and unhinged character, returning to his Cactus Jack persona. This change would lead to one of the most brutal and memorable matches in Attitude Era history, as Cactus Jack took on Triple H in a street fight. The match, which took place in Madison Square Garden, became a defining moment for both wrestlers. For Foley, it was his emotional swan song in New York City, and for Triple H, it was the night that solidified his place at the top of the card. The sheer violence of the match, with its bloodshed, brutality, and jaw-dropping moments, would go down in history as one of the most memorable matches in WWF history. Aside from the hardcore chaos, the Royal Rumble pay-per-view would also be remembered for several significant events. First, the explosive debut of Taz, the former ECW star, occurred when he defeated Kurt Angle in an incredibly dominant fashion. Taz's victory immediately positioned him as a future star, though his later run will be marked by ups and downs. Another standout match was the tables match between the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys, two of the most innovative tag teams in the WWF at the time. In this chaotic and dangerous encounter, the Dudleys proved their mastery of the hardcore style, but the Hardys would ultimately rise to prominence in the tag team division that year. The Royal Rumble match itself featured The Rock emerging as the victor, despite a controversial ending in which his feet touched the ground before being eliminated. This sparked a storyline where the Big Show would claim a shot at The Rock and his spot in the main event at WrestleMania. This controversial finish set the stage for a feud that would continue to develop over the course of the next few months, driving much of the drama in the build to WrestleMania 2000. As the months passed, the WWF continued to evolve with fresh talent and compelling storylines. One of the most notable developments during this time was the arrival of The Radicals, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn, who had all made their names in WCW. The group made an immediate impact in WWF, showcasing their technical prowess and adding a fresh layer of depth to the roster. These new arrivals would go on to achieve great success in the company, though each would have different paths to the top. Meanwhile, Triple H's reign as champion was being challenged on multiple fronts. In a rematch from the brutal Royal Rumble showdown, Triple H defended his WWF Championship against Cactus Jack and No Way Out in February. The stipulation of the match was that if Foley lost, he would have to retire, adding even more drama to what would already be a brutal encounter. In another violent match, this time inside a Hell in a Cell, Triple H managed to defeat Foley, seemingly ending the career of the beloved hardcore legend. However, Foley's contribution to the WWF were far from over, as his involvement in key storylines would continue in the months to come. In the aftermath of No Way Out, The Rock found himself in the midst of a feud with The Big Show, who had stolen his spot in the WrestleMania main event. This new rivalry saw The Rock and Vince McMahon form an uneasy alliance to strip Triple H of the title. As tensions continued to mount, Linda McMahon stepped in to announce that Mick Foley would be added to the main event picture at WrestleMania, making it a fatal four-way match between Triple H, The Rock, The Big Show, and Foley. This added yet another layer of intrigue to an already chaotic situation, and fans eagerly anticipated the culmination of these intertwined storylines. WrestleMania 2000, held on April 2nd, was a landmark event for the WWF, filled with drama, shocking moments, and unforgettable matches. The main event was one of the most chaotic in WrestleMania history, as Triple H defended his WWF Championship in a fatal four-way match against The Rock, The Big Show, and Mick Foley. As expected, the match was filled with high drama, near falls, and wild interference from all sides. The most shocking moment came when Vince McMahon, who had been feuding with his daughter Stephanie, turned on The Rock and helped Triple H retain the title. This marked the first time a heel had won the main event at WrestleMania, a decision that would send shockwaves throughout the wrestling world. Beyond the main event, the undercard was filled with memorable moments. The first ever triangle ladder match took place, pitting the Hardy Boys, the Dudley Boys, and Edge and Christian in a high-flying, high-impact contest that would become legendary in the tag team division. Other notable matches included Chris Jericho winning the Intercontinental Championship in a triple threat match, and Kurt Angle's shocking loss of both the European and Intercontinental Championships in a highly contested series of matches. With the culmination of WrestleMania 2000, the WWF began to transition into the next phase of its storylines. As Triple H's reign continued, The Rock began his pursuit of the championship once again, setting the stage for several more epic battles throughout the year. However, the most dramatic return came when Stone Cold Steve Austin, who had been recovering from neck surgery, made his long-awaited return at Backlash in April, assisting The Rock in defeating Triple H for his fourth WWF Championship reign. As the summer of 2000 unfolded, the WWF continued to deliver high-stakes drama. At Judgment Day, Triple H and The Rock faced off in an Iron Man match that would go down as one of the most grueling encounters of the year. The Undertaker, in his American badass persona, made a dramatic return to the company, and his interference in the match helped Triple H retain the title. The Rock, despite putting on an impressive performance, found himself at a crossroads as he looked to reclaim the title. In June, at King of the Ring, The Rock finally overcame Triple H, pinning Vince McMahon to win the title in a thrilling, hard-fought match. This victory would set the stage for several more intense feuds, including a high-profile rivalry with Kurt Angle, who had become one of the top stars in the company. The summer months also featured a series of unforgettable matches, including the Acolyte Protection Agency winning the tag titles and Trish Stratus taking on Lita in a mixed tag match at Fully Loaded. As the fall of 2000 approached, one of the most compelling storylines involves Stone Cold Steve Austin's quest for revenge against the person who had run him over a year earlier, leading to his injury. This storyline took a shocking turn when it was revealed that Rikishi was the culprit behind the attack, a plot twist that many fans felt fell flat. Nonetheless, Austin's brutal attack on Rikishi at No Mercy in October set the stage for a dramatic payoff to this long-running story. As Survivor Series in November approached, Kurt Angle managed to defend his title against The Undertaker in a hard-hitting match, proving once again that he was one of the top stars in the company. But the biggest moment of the year came at Armageddon in December, where the top 6 contenders for the WWF Championship, Angle, Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Undertaker, and Rikishi, battled it out in a Hell in a Cell match. With interference from Vince McMahon and all 6 competitors giving their all, Kurt Angle managed to retain his title, bringing the tumultuous year of 2000 to a victorious close. The year 2000 remains one of the most creatively rich years in WWF history. As the company surged in popularity, it seemed unstoppable, blending established stars with fresh talent and delivering unforgettable storylines that captivated fans worldwide. From the shocking twist to the incredible matches, 2000 was a year of creative excellence, setting the stage for the future of the WWF. As 2000 drew to a close, the company found itself on the cusp of new challenges, setting the stage for the dramatic events of 2001. But for now, the story of 2000 remains an unforgettable chapter in the history of professional wrestling, an era of unmatched drama, rivalry, and entertainment.